G'day, battlers! And today we're going to be talking all about the Retro Cup, which is coming to the Go Battle League in just a few days. So jumping straight into it, essentially the Retro Cup is going to be a cup where Fairy types, Dark types, and Steel types are all banned. That's essentially types that were introduced later on in the Pokemon game. So when the first generation came out, they only had all of the other types. They did not have Fairy types, no Steel types, no Dark types. They came later on. So that's a sort of retro theme, and it's going to be running from Monday, May 10th all the way through to Monday, May 17th. So we've got a week of that alongside Master League. So if you are not into Master League, you want to do some Great League stuff, this is going to be a cup for you for that week. Let's just jump straight into it though, right into the Simplified infographic after you subscribe, of course, for all of the future PvP content coming out. But yeah, let's get into it. Hope you got the screenshot. But yeah, today this is my simplified infographic for the Retro Cup. We've kind of got only 5 groups here. We have the Ghost types in the top left. We have the Psychic types over in the top right. Then in the middle we have the Fighting types. In the bottom left we have our Altaria kind of representing the Dragon types. And then in the bottom right we have these sort of, I don't really have a name for them. It's just Lickitung and Regirock. That's it. Now, essentially, because Fairy types are banned, that helps out the Fighters and the Dragon types to both kind of be a bit more prevalent. Then you've got the Steel type bans, which means that I guess Fighting types have a little bit less stock there because the Steel type isn't there. But it does mean that things like Drifblim or Frostlass would be walled by something like a Bastiodon. That isn't a concern anymore. These sort of big tanks are gone. Then you've also got the Dark types being banned, which means that the Ghost types and the Psychic types can run a little bit more free because they have less to be worried about. So this is kind of the meta that we've ended up with: Ghosts, Psychics, Fighters, and then a little bit in between. So jumping straight into it, looking at the Ghost types, we have the Ghost types beating the Dragon types at the bottom left, the Fighters in the middle, and the Psychics over on the right hand side. Now that matchup with Altaria is the case for Frostlass and Drifblim. A lot of the Marowak is a little bit more back and forth, and Altaria is generally going to win some of those matchups up against Marowak, but just for simplification purposes, we're going to have that arrow going towards Altaria. Then beating the Fighting types. The Fighting types are kind of those, like, you know, they're going to lose to Ghosts. That's one of the things they're going to do, except to the fact that Machamp and Deoxy's defense both have that sort of rock damage they can throw. If they can get that damage on any of these Ghost types, they happen to all have other typings that are weak to rock. So if they can land that rock stuff, then that can kind of swing the tide a little bit. So maybe if they come in with an energy advantage, they might be able to flip that matchup towards the Ghosts. And then the Psychic types, you can't really expect them to be winning, except for the fact that Hypno does have Shadow Ball. If Hypno has that energy advantage, can get that Shadow Ball through, that's going to do a chunk of damage onto any of these Ghost types. They have to be a little bit worried about that. Hypno is one of those, you know, Swiss Army knife sort of Pokemon that can really do anything. And then, you know, he's also got Fire Punch that can hit Frostlass. He's got Thunder Punch that could hit Drifblim. I think Ice Punch may be the best way to go in this cup, because I think Dragons really are going to be a very prevalent thing. So I think Ice Punch, Shadow Ball might be the best way to go. You really do want Shadow Ball, because that is all the Ghosts and Psychics running around. But before we get into talking about the Psychic types too much, we also should hit on the fact that the Regirock Lickitung combo are going to be beating those Ghost types as well. Lickitung is going to be resisting all of the Ghost damage because of its normal typing. It's really bulky as well. Plus, it's just going to be able to put on that super effective lick damage that is just slowly going to whittle them right down. Body Slam, not going to do much damage, but really doesn't need it. Just can lick all the way pretty much. Probably not, but still going to do a very good job. And then Regirock, again, has that rock typing that's going to be able to hit any of these guys for super effective damage if it can go through. And Regirock is just kind of a tanky Pokemon as well. It doesn't take too many hits. I was going to say a little bit scared of Bone Clubs from Marowak, but Bone Club is a really atrocious move, so not too much. Moving on to the Psychic types though, we have Cresselia and Hypno filling out this slot. They're beating the Fighting types as you would expect, losing to the Ghosts, losing to that Lickitung and Regirock combo, and we do not have an arrow between the Psychic types and Altaria. Essentially it's because it's a bit back and forthy, so Cresselia can beat Altaria if it lands a Moonblast, Hypno can potentially beat Altaria if it has the energy to get these like Ice Punches off, but Altaria is just generally a really oppressive Pokemon. It's got Dragon Breath and it can win out a lot of these shielding scenarios against both Hypno and Cresselia, so that's why there's no arrow there. And so essentially the Ghost types are what you'd expect. They're going to be beating Psychic. It is what it is, unless Hypno can land that Shadow Ball. The Fighting types are just going to be weak to that confusion damage, really adding, really just taking a lot of hits and not really being able to throw anything back. So like Medicham, Defense Deoxys, Machamp, none of them really have a great sort of coverage move. Actually, that's a lie. Machamp has Payback, so maybe Machamp with Payback could be a thing, but it's a long way to actually get to a Payback, so I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be niche. It's going to be a Spice Pick, you know, someone's going to have a video of getting a 5-0 sweep with a Payback Machamp sort of deal, but I don't think it's going to be core meta. Machamp isn't really like the best one to run. Machamp is a bit of an also ran. Ideally, you would actually want to have Defense Deoxys or Medicham, but Machamp is another one. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves again, but back to the Psychic types. We have the Lickitung and the Regirock. Lickitung, again, is just a really bulky Pokemon. Has that lick that's going to be doing super effective damage to the Psychic types. And Regirock kind of just is able to win those matchups. Like, he's just able to throw the charge moves fairly quickly and doesn't take too many hits. So yeah, I guess Regirock just comes out on top on that one. Moving on to the fighters in the middle though, we have again those losses to the Psychic types and the Ghost types, unless like they can land some sort of rock damage up against the Ghost types that if they've got the energy advantage. But yeah, not really the situation that you're likely to find yourself in. Maybe you can force some shields though. Then they're going to be losing to the Dragon type Altaria. Generally, again, there is this rock damage going on. There's these ice punches that can be coming through from the Medicham. There is play back against this Altaria. But Altaria is really good, Dragon Breath's really good, it can do a lot of damage, blah, 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 blah. It's very good. And then they're also going to be beating that Lickitung and the Regirock. And that is the real reason that the fighters are in this meta. Because Lickitung and Regirock can run away with it a little bit, you really need some sort of hard checks, hard coverage for those Pokemon, and that is the fighting type. So I don't think fighting types are going to be the most common. Like, I'm not sure if every team is going to have a fighting type, because I mean, Lickitung and Regirock are not the most common Pokemon to have. They might not be the most common group that you see on every line of 3, but they will be around and they will be there to check this Lickitung and Regirock. If everyone does have Lickitung, then fighting types. Then we have the Altaria in the bottom left, and essentially because Fairy and Steel are both banned, those are the two types that would be resisting Dragon Breath. So now Dragon Breath is just going to be destroying the entire meta, just going blah, 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 hitting everything around. There's going to be double Dragon strats. There's going to be triple Dragon strats, and it's going to be pretty good. And that is why there is really this importance on Ice type. So Frostlass with its Avalanches, Drifloon with its Icy Wind, even stuff like a Abomasnow, who I don't have on this graphic, but Abomasnow is also going to be a really good counter for that Altaria. This stuff is going to be really important to make sure that the Dragon types don't run away with the entire meta. So you're going to see other stuff like Kingdra, you're going to see Dragonairs, Dragonites, potentially even some Goodras maybe appearing around. I don't think it's that great in this cup though. So yeah, definitely really expect a lot of Dragons. So going to be beating the fighting types, going to be losing to the Ghosts generally. The Psychic types again does not have that arrow because there's sort of some play both ways. Dragon types can win a lot of matchups, but the Psychic types can also win some back. It really just depends on move decisions, shield baits, that sort of scenario, and also energy advantage as well. And then there's also no arrow between the Dragons and that sort of Lickitung Regirock group. Now, Regirock has a really good time up against Altaria, but Lickitung has a very back and forthy sort of scenario. From memory, I think it's Altaria wins the 0 and 2 shield, and then Lickitung wins the 1 shield. It's that sort of like a really close matchup, and it's just a matter of Dragon Breath doing, adding up all of this damage, Sky Attacks eventually going through onto this bulky Pokemon, Lickitung just soaking up all these hits, getting a Body Slam off whenever he can, Body Slam, Body Slam, Body Slam, and whoever comes out on top of this matchup, no matter how many shields are burned, they're not going to have too much health left, which is kind of a good thing because it means that there's less energy to farm, but it is one of those close matchups, and that's why I didn't put an arrow on this graphic. Moving on to that last group though, the Regirock and the Lickitung, we've gone through all of the matchups already, but to quickly summarize, they're really there to beat the Psychics and the Ghost types that are so prevalent in this meta. They're going to be everywhere, and Lickitung is going to be beating them all. Then there's the fighting types who are really there just to check the Lickitung and Regirock, and then Altaria over with the Dragons who are going to have a little bit more back and forth play. But yeah, that is my Retro Cup Meta Simplified infographic. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you think I've missed something, if it was an egregious offense that I didn't include like a Abomasnow or Snowy Catspom on this graphic, do let me know, and let me know what teams you're going to be running as well, so we can kind of figure out what the best things to run in this cup are. But with that said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one. Thank you to my patrons and supporters over on Twitch as well, because I seriously appreciate all of you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever it may be. We are still in the heat of the Commander Cup, so there may be some more Commander Cup Sylph videos coming out soon. So if you're interested in that, subscribe. Also, check out the Sylph Arena if you guys haven't already, because it's very cool. Okay, bye.